Okay, so back to our handsome Mr. O, we're going to work a bit with some leave it behaviors. So before I even start working on leave it's, remember that, and again, we're just going to warm up with some find it's just to get them in the groove. Ready? Find it. So that way, while we sort of discuss what we mean by leave it's, then we can get them set up physically and mentally ready for it, and then we can dive into the practice. So a lot of times leave it's have turned into almost a negative, just like drop it's can sometimes start to turn into a negative for a lot of puppies. So we tend to say drop it to anything we want to take from them. So even though we don't want our dogs to eat the acorn or eat the mulch or eat the bunny poop or whatever it might be, if your puppy hears you squealing in the distance, drop it or leave it or whatever it might be, and it always equals you take the item from them or it becomes sort of confrontational, then those behaviors become scary or a little overwhelming, or you might create more fuel to the fire to skills you don't want him or her to get better at. So let's say, for example, Mr. O is right here just relaxing next to me. I'm going to also capture any great behavior that I want to have from him again down the road. So remember, if we don't capture or reinforce the glimmers of the dog we'd like for later, and we're only reinforcing the moments we're like in training, then you're not really, for example, helping your dog generalize these skills for down the road in your usual environment setting. So again, he's doing a real nice job just relaxing next to me. So back to, for example, with us with puppies and take it and drop it, is a lot of times I highly recommend practice the toy exchange game where your puppy can have lots of items they're allowed to have, and you practice exchanging one toy for another. You help them relinquish one toy to get a paycheck in the sense of food. And then that way your puppy doesn't mind letting go, because if letting go always equals the game is done or I'm going to take it from you, then drop it turns into I better run away and try to play keep away because they're coming to take my item once more from me. So we don't want to be the end of the game or the end of fun or the beginnings of sort of confrontation. So let's say we're going to practice with a no-no item. So I've got a piece of paper towel. I've got an old plastic bag that's empty. We're going to practice where we plop them off to the side. And before we go into having the actual items on the floor, I want to work with some engagement. He's like, lady, I'm going to fall asleep while you're blabbing. I want to work with some engagement from Mr. O where moving into my space is really beneficial. So I really love working a front position as well. So I'm going to get Mr. Handsome just up and moving just so we can break from that lovely little vegging on the floor. So for a front position, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to have your puppies can be on gear or off gear. I like to do both. If we're going to practice with leave it's, the puppies should be on gear when working that, especially in the beginning. Because if leave it's always turn into you squealing leave it or screaming leave it in the background while your puppy's playing keep away, you're not actually helping them learn to ignore the thing. They're probably thinking it's more fun to grab it because that's the final moment you took moments to take and pay attention to them for the day. Mr. O says, oh, winded, what a nice job. So we're going to feed again for this beautiful softness. So let's say we're going to work on some fronts and then we'll get back to those leave it's. He's like, lady, let me sleep. So we're going to get Mr. O up and wiggling with a nice little find it. So we can, he's like, that's as good as it gets. Right? We'll do another bigger find it so we can get up and wiggle. So with fronts, I like to have the puppy in front of me. And what we're going to do, so unlike the leash pressure exercise where you're using the gear to help the puppy check in, this one is, again, the gear's just on to keep him from wandering. I would go ahead and go right to Mr. O's nose. So let's say he's already in front of me. I like to have a few snacks ready, and I'm going to go front and bring him into my space. And again, front. So in the beginning, it's just moving into the front of my body. And when he moves into my front, I feed him for that. So again, I'm going to get a couple snacks, front, nice. And again, front, beautiful. So let's say he's doing a really nice job with the fronts in front of me. Now we can go into, now the puppy is going to be on my side. And let's say I wanted to be walking and the puppy, let's say, gets distracted. I could bring them back into the front of me by rotating them towards my legs. If, for example, let's say he got a little distracted, I go ready, front, and then bring him into the front of my body. Eventually, this could turn into a very nice little sitting position while in front of you, but it doesn't have to be in the beginning. So again, we're going to be meandering. Oh, Mr. O says, what is that wild man talking about? So let's say we're meandering and there's going to be a distraction up ahead. Maybe there is some trash. Maybe there is something distracting or dangerous. We could be walking and I could go, ready, front, and lure him into the front of my bed. He's like, how about this? If he gets little jumpy jelly bean moments where they jump up, Remember, sometimes they're just trying to meet you halfway for the food. They're a little excited about it. They could also be getting a little overtired or overstimulated. And sometimes the puppies will try to either play with you as if you were another pup, but at other times they might jump up because they're a little frustrated or a little confused. So I would always gauge. Mr. O says, what is that wild man speaking of? Mr. A sometimes hears the funny trucks and he gets a little bit unsure about them. Oh, we dropped it. Better go find it. So let's say, again, puppy's next to me. Oh, good little shake off, sir. Nice work. And let's say, okay, there's a distraction. I could go from here and then front, and then bring him into the front of my body right here, which is beautiful. So now that he's gotten into a little bit of a groove, I want to grab some of my trash. He's like, what is he talking about? I know there's the trucks going by. So I like to plop down a few little find-its on the floor to get my puppy's interest off of my trash. Because if you're all by yourself and you're doing this on your own, I recommend to set up your items far enough away where the puppy cannot reach them. So hopefully, for example, you see my plastic bag and my little piece of paper. What I did with the find it over here just helps Mr. O stay stationary over in this bubble while I plant the distraction items. So he's like hopeful that there could be more snacks. So the way I like to start this game off is I have goodies on me. We've been practicing some of this engagement with me. Now I'm going to go ahead and get Mr. O's attention on my snack hand just for a moment. He's like, lady, please drop them all. So show him what you got. I'm going to go ahead and approach my no-no items. Oh my gosh, chewing is still hard. Hold on. Let's see if we can get it back up and chew it again. Delicious. So there's my trash. I'm going to go right here. Leave it. Yes. If Mr. O did not respond, I would help him by moving further away or by potentially saying his name or the little kissy noise. So right here, we'd go, leave it. And right here, I might do my kiss to get his attention to move back into my space. So we're going to, again, try to orient towards the item. We'll go, leave it. Yes. And you'll see that I'm not yanking back on him. So I'm not popping him. So remember, I'm not a huge fan of leash pops. I don't think they're needed at all. For me, I'd rather show the babe what I'd prefer versus scolding him for the mistakes he's doing because he has no idea what the heck I want from him. So remember, dogs don't speak English. Yes, they can learn some lovely language moments, but we want to make sure that what we're doing is showing him what we'd prefer versus scolding him or yelling at him for things we want him to not do. Because remember, your puppy doesn't learn that you don't want them to do that. They just learn that when you're nearby and that thing is present, you're going to get aggressive or scary, and now you're going to lose confidence or trust in your puppy with you. So we don't want to damage the relationship. We want to build comfort around the thing. So right here, leave it. Yes, good job. So in the beginning, oh, he's getting all the crumbs he missed earlier. Good job, sir. So let's say Mr. O, again, we're going to go near enough to the item where he sees it and checks it out. Oh, smart boy. If your puppy decides to instead look to you or check in with you or do something other than check out the leave it, I would feed them for that. Because in the beginning, ready? If your puppy doesn't get any good responses from you, even from the beginning stages of the attempted behavior, what's the point of him working even harder? So right here, nice, to bother doing the skill in the first place. So just like with us, if we were getting told constantly we were so dumb for not knowing the alphabet, but no one took the time to teach us the alphabet, maybe learning how to read would be a horrible idea from our perspective. Two, the relationship built around you and the teacher may not be so good. So remember that if your puppy is struggling or you are struggling, make sure you're breaking it down into attainable steps that everybody in the practice zone can be attainable scenarios. I cannot talk today, I'm sorry. So right here I go, leave it. And then if he doesn't respond, Ozzy, yes. And then feed for that lovely name recognition. So as he's getting more comfortable, we might approach from different angles. So I'm just going to set him up over here so we can approach from this side. He's like, chewing is still so hard. So there's my trash. He's like, oh, so tired. He's like, oh my gosh, he lost a crumb earlier. Good job finding it. So again, for being near the item over here and not going towards it, right here, we might go leave it. Yes. Eventually, what you're hoping to do is get your puppy to not care at all about random things on the floor and almost find that random things on the ground equal check in with your handler. So right there, yes. So he did a great job looking at it and instead decided to come back and check in with me. Nice. Ready? Right here, we're feeding again for all this lovely attention on me. So you'll see that with the puppies, especially, there's a really nice high rate of reinforcement. This should also be the same way for adult dogs or seniors, because if they don't think that there's value in these weird things, we need to make it seem like there's a benefit to working so hard for, the weird skills that puppies would normally not care about. Ready? Because it might actually be more fun for Mr. O to go and break the plastic bag and the paper product. Nice. So let's say, oh no, we got so close that my puppy grabs the item. Oh my gosh, chew it. This is where the toy exchange game or these find its can be a really great option, because if you don't know what to do when things are easy, how are you going to do things when they're harder? So let's say, oh gosh, I'm going to get right on top of my leave it items. Let's say, oh dear, my puppy goes to grab for it. I might go, ready? Get his attention, and then do a lovely little find it off to the side to help him think that ignoring or moving away from it was non-threatening, or not again the beginning stages of play. Because for some of the pups, oh, and of course it fell right in the crack. But let's say if it always turns into you saying leave it and then you chasing your puppy for the item, that is the greatest day of their lives, that you now have started this game with them. They will not realize that leave it means leave it alone. They might think it's the beginning of a chase game. So if also you tend to sound possessed when you say leave it, so right here, leave it. Yes, good boy. If, for example, I always sounded really scary or aggressive, my puppy might just respond because I sound spooky, but they might actually get a little overwhelmed, grab the item, try to swallow it to get away from you and your aggression, or go and start maybe resource guarding the item because every time they've gone for something. So right here, I go, Ozzy, and then we do a nice little find it. So I don't go and chase the puppy. I don't go and try to rip it from his mouth. Because if I do so, I'm creating more of a problem with random items becoming the beginning stages of keep away, maybe confrontation between myself and him. So this is where he's now starting to realize that when I leave the item alone, I can get even more benefits than going and grabbing it in the first place. So now once more, we might try to go near it. He's looking for all those crumbs. Ready? That's a beautiful check-in, so I'm going to feed him for that. So let's say again, here we are. We're going to walk by the item. Ozzy, yes. You could also do a little bit of name recognition. Get him to check in mid-passing by the item. What a smart boy. Gorgeous. So here's the item again. Leave it. Yes. Nice. But if leave-its are always don't go near it and don't practice around the item, it does become harder for him to start to put the pieces together that leave-it means don't play with it or don't put it in your mouth. Nice check-in. I want him to think the value is, yes, he saw that thing, but for ignoring it. So right here, I'm going to go leave it. Yes. He's now starting to realize that even though this is new to him, he's getting much more fluid in ignoring the item. So right here, we're going to see, nice. He's like, no, I'm getting so tired. So we'll give him a little find it. I'm just going to pick up some of my trash items. That was beautiful. But when working with leave-its, make sure you do not sound immensely scary. Make sure your puppies are not hearing you squealing, leave it as you're chasing them for the slipper. And now that becomes the greatest day of their lives. If your puppy tends to grab for things, remember, he is a baby. We want to puppy-proof those environments. If, let's say that was a small human child and we kept saying, don't play with matches, but we put the matches right in front of the small human, that's on us, not on them. So make sure that if they don't have the capacity to not do something, let's make sure that we set up the environment that's conducive for him to learn what we'd rather have him do in general or what not to get good at for mastering down the road. So if your puppy is constantly swiping shoes or slippers, we may have to have a shoe bin. We might have to put them in the closet. We may have to have a safe bubble for puppy and then all of our other junk. So you may find that for a lot of puppies to be successful in the beginning, management is your best friend. So, but Mr. O did such a good job. We're going to give him a little break and rotate through the beautiful men, and we'll have him take a little rest, and then we'll rotate and have a nice time with all of these gorgeous boys. But very nice job, Mr. O. We'll maybe do one more little find it, and we'll call it a day for Mr. O today.